Let's go. This OST is impossible to find. Like in a raw format. I've tried. I've tried. It's so good. This game is crazy also. Anyone? Does anyone know this game? It's old. At any rate, if you have a 64 or can do emulation or something, hard recommend. This game is sick. So good. Hello, everyone. Welcome on in. Taco Bowl, the first. The first! You went from absent for ages to first. Good to see you. Anthony, thanks for liking my yoga dog tweets. I appreciate that. Sacha. There they are. Welcome in. Let's do it, right? It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to seeing your stuff. We got Natasha. Hello, hello. Tom Bennett. Skull Drinker? What a handle. What a handle. I once had whiskey with the co-founders of CCP. And they were A, awesome to hang out with, but B, when we went to Cheers, myself and my buddy Jesse, who was over at Clay here in Vancouver. He and I went to Cheers them, a little glass clink, and they refused the cheers and instead told us that that's not how they cheers in Iceland. Instead, they are Viking warriors and scream skull and hold their glasses aloft. Because back in the day, the warlords would drink from the skulls of their enemies. And they'd bash the skulls together. And whoever's skull broke meant that was the weaker enemy. So the other guy was the stronger warlord. There you go. So yeah, I screamed skull very loud. with Thor and Hilmar. It was great. But carrying on, I digress. Sung Hyun, good to see ya. Wayne, Matt, Echo. Echo, you followed like last week, right? I'm pretty sure. I feel like I saw your follow come in relatively recently. If so, welcome back. Oh, Skull Drinker is Kaan. Okay, this is you. This is you right here. That's awesome. Well, then I don't feel bad with the digression because it's semi-relevant to today's edition of Real Talk. There you go. Good soundtrack though, right? Dang, so good. Martist is by far my favorite though. One more time. One more time. Who else is here? We got Ezekiel. April Fool's Child. I love this menu, right? Yeah, this game is sick. It's very good. We'll just let this soundless gameplay play in the background and see if we can figure out how this game even works. It's really out there. It's crazy. The head-to-head gameplay is awesome. The multiplayer gameplay. Bowling. Bowlinger. What up? Ed Hipkins, he's back. Undeterred from the ravages of the Real Talk stage. Nah, that was great. It's a good time. Riley Circles. I keep forgetting what your actual name is. It's not Riley. It's like you are on our list, aren't you? I'm pretty sure you are. You asked during a stream and like how to submit, and I told you, and you submitted 15 seconds later. You are... I'll know if I see it. I'm sure I will. You are... Alex? Yes, Alex looks right. Nailed it. Alex. I'm trying to recall everyone's like handle and their name, you know, if I can. I feel like Bollinger told me their name at some point too. I should know that one, but it's a lot. It's a lot to recall. We're very fortunate to have some like plenty of return visitors to this stream, so appreciate it. And thank you for bearing with me. People call you Riley. Okay, sweet. Well, Riley it is. Easy. And Mike Romanek, good to see you. Yours is easy. Mike Romaniac. It's a wonderful handle. Okay, well, yeah, today we've got Sacha, who's in the chat right now, as Sacha. Easy. And we have Kaan Salman, who is Skull Drinker in the chat. There you go. While I talk about what Real Talk is, can you each tell me like where you are in the world so I can maybe be courteous? If one of you is, or maybe what time it is for you, what local time it is for you is a better thing to say. Because if it's like 2 a.m. or something for one of you, I'll do yours first. I feel bad. We did change from 4 p.m. PST to noon PST. So otherwise it would be 4 hours from now. So as we can see, yeah, 9 p.m. would be 1 a.m. for you there. So I feel like the noon PST was kind of the preferred time for most people. It put a few people in an awkward spot, but I think on the whole, the majority were feeling more down with it. Bowling has not told me their name. Whoops. Oh no, it's fine. You don't have to. There's no need to do so. It's just the nature of this kind of stream is, oh my goodness, this is far too cheerful for this kind of hallucid. Oh, there we go. As I was saying, just the nature of this particular stream, let's say unlike a variety indie game broadcaster or something, the nature of this stream is that there are a lot of real names being thrown around, right? Like people are understanding who people are because it's a professionally, focused stream. So I'm more than happy to tell you my name is Kevin Regami and I live in Vancouver. I can tell you that, totally. That said, it is not at all required for every viewer to do the same thing. So don't worry. I don't mean to call you out, Chris. I'm sorry. If you prefer to be called Bollinger, I'm fine with that too, no sweat. And that goes for everyone in the chat. Anyway. But okay, so we got France and we got Skull Drinker has yet to weigh in with the local time for them. But we'll see. Regardless, this is Real Talk, as I'm sure many of you are well aware. We're looking at some game audio demo reel materials from today, Sacha and Kaan. And we'll be offering some constructive feedback to help them get some traction in whatever corner of the industry they're aiming for in game audio. And that could be in freelancing freelancing period, or working with an indie studio, small team, or small teams, or working for a team like ours. I mean, there's a lot of audio teams like ours, like Hexney, there's Wabi Sabi, there's Sweet Justice, there's Hyperduck Soundworks, there's a lot of really solid teams doing great work out there. And yeah, they're just like ours. They're like a freelance team, right? And then there's also, of course, the big leagues, larger studios of 100 to thousands of employees. And they're certainly, they are the end goal for a lot of people as well, naturally. So we're trying to just give you some feedback based on what those goals might be, and if your work is, if it's suited to those goals, ideally, that's the idea. So, Nick Von Kano, been a while. NVK, good to see you. NVK is some Real Talk alumni. Good to see you back here. Welcome on in. So, for the feedback, we're looking at these things. We're looking at presentation. Back to Tetrisphere, though. Some weird visuals for you. There you go. We're looking at presentation first. That means the website on the whole. We're looking at general navigation, if there's enough information or too much information. If the things that a potential employer might want to see, like if they are there, or if those things are not there. And that's kind of it. Maybe the bio we'll glance at too. Nothing too crazy on that front though. The main event when it comes to presentation is looking at the reel itself and things like flow and titling and the bookends and everything besides the sound of the thing itself, right? And then for material selection, this next thing down the criteria list, we're looking at what pieces have been selected for the demo reel or for the portfolio, if a portfolio exists, and what those pieces might suggest about this person's, past work history and their current skill sets and their future ambitions as far as what they want to be doing. And hopefully those pieces are communicating something, as it's best to, imply to people what you want to, what your jive is, what your jam is, because they might not know you very well or at all. I mean, we're going in blind. I have not seen Kaan's stuff or Sacha's stuff before today. I mean, I've seen what you've seen as far as this front page. That's it. So we're gonna be going in together blind, and hopefully we'll learn something. And of course, Sacha and Kaan, I welcome you to supplement any information in the stream in the chat as well, and we'll be happy to kind of work through all this together. It's a very collaborative stream here. We're not looking to tear anyone down. Next up, content quality. Just, is this stuff good or not? Is it at that industry standard of awesome we always talk about? And if there's room to improve, I know the chat will be more than happy to let you know what they think, and I will as well. And none of us are the word of God, so to speak. But of course, there is a lot of experience in the room, so happy to share that. And finally, distinction. Just, are you standing out in some positive way? As there's a lot of people out there who are looking for the same gigs you might be looking for, and if you aren't standing out in some way, just as far as making a first impression, then you're dead in the water, because there's just way too much talent out there, and there are people who are putting in more work than you potentially. And they, because they put more work in, have indicated they are more serious. Whether they are or not is kind of besides the point, but they've communicated that they are more serious than you, and therefore to the employer, they look like a less risky hire. And that's what everyone's hiring for, the least risk. So, real important to stand out in some positive way, even if it means you aren't hired this time around. Perhaps you're hired next time, or perhaps you're recommended because you just barely missed the cut. But this developer acknowledged that you're awesome, and perhaps they have a friend who says, hey, you know anyone who's looking for some audio work? And they say, yeah, I do actually. Yuso, good to see you. Been a while as well. Good to see you again. Okay, shall we? Enough of this awesome Neil Voss soundtrack. Tetrasphere, enough of that. Good game. Go play Tetrasphere if if it's possible for you. It's hard to find, hard to play. It is 9 p.m. for both of you. Okay, well then I'm glad for this noon time slot for each of y'all. I guess Finland's pretty late too, right? I guess it's like a little bit later, I think. Something like that. I can't recall. Okay, well, I guess we'll just go with who I saw first. Should be Sacha, I think, in the chat. Shall we? Okay, I'll put the link in the chat too, just so if you're curious to have a look, there you go. It's all yours. Follow along. Taco Bowl, you can do your worst. Taco Bowl is our resident opinion column when it comes to site design and stuff. I don't think Taco Bowl works in audio, but has a good eye for just like design and flow and that kind of thing. There you go. There it was doubtlessly already midway through that paragraph of type in before I even introduced them. Web development. There you go. Well, you're certainly welcome here. That's for sure. Okay, so you have Sacha's page. Looks like it has not vertical. It is a horizontal page. So we have the tabs at the top. So we have Reels front page. We're on the home page right now. So Reels are up front. We got sound design and audio implementation. Okay, cool. So this will be watched first for sure by most people, and then this will be watched if they have further interest in this particular kind of corner of skill sets and such. And music too. Okay, so you have music down below. So this is in this order: sound design, audio, implementation, and music seems like your interest or strengths. That's what that says thus far. We got Twitter, that works. We got YouTube. Some stuff, some tunes, some soundtracks and stuff. Jungle ambiences, cool. We got Spotify. We got Instagram. Is Instagram relevant? Oh, yeah, it is. Look at that DAW. Wonderful. We've got IMDb, too. Cool. Okay. Next up, we got audio on the top. So audio and music. Okay. Okay. This shows a rating system. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So on the audio and music. Okay. So this would be, Blood Bowl. I know that game. I played this game. Additional sound. Oh, there's an extra N here. Careful. Typos. Dungeon. I played this game in. It's like kind of a. Wasn't it this game? It's like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons ish, and like it's old school, but kind of like campy, humory. Also, kind of, I think, or something. I feel like I played this. Is there like in some Steam demo festival or something?
I'm the rightful countess of these halls.
Yeah, definitely.
Cursed vampire.
Yeah, definitely. There was some big pops in the VO in that game, actually, like for Faded Regions. It's the only thing I recall from playing that game. I should probably not be so mean, but that was the one thing that sticks out in my mind. So French parody of big fantasy stories. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay, so we got some stuff, some projects. We got down below Savvy Community is a group of people getting together to make innovative game prototypes. There, I do sound design, music, and implementation in Unity. Okay. Cool. Got it. So you're involved doing stuff. And film audio down below. Okay, so we're classic games and film kind of all in the same place. We'll see if your film stuff needs to be here or not. We'll keep going. Music. Okay. And we're not going to spend too much time here, but looks like some soundtrack stuff. Nice. Great. And then blog, before I click. Place your bets. When was the last blog post? I'm feeling like, like Sacha's pretty active. So blog post, I'm going to say like last month. So we're going with August. This week, says Ed. There you go. There you go. Brave saying this week. Is Brave saying last month too, mind you. Tomorrow. Touche. Yeah, if it hasn't been for a long time, perhaps Sacha will be inspired and make a post tomorrow. That's very possible. I think July. Okay, well, let's have a look. Blog. Here we are. 5/22/21. So May. Okay. So not crazy long ago. This is a fun picture. Not too crazy. Not too recent, but not too crazy. So we have May, and before that we had, so May, and then, I'm scrolling too fast. We have May of 21. We got February 21. And then we have June of 2020. Okay. And before that, nothing. So not very much. Man, it's so rare I see blogs that are, for which I am impressed with the upkeep, you know? This is zoomed weird because I'm just zoomed way in. It's fine. Typically, I'll see a blog and be like, yep, this makes sense. Long space between posts. It's hard. It's hard to, talkable. It's just like span 2 because I'm zoomed way in. But that could be, I mean, there's room here. So I don't know. I'm not an expert in these things. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Cool that you're doing stuff at all. Moving on. Hi. My name is Sacha. I haven't said your last name yet. If you're from... That's like not a very French name, though, is it? This isn't a French name. It doesn't seem it. You're in France? Like, Mathelet is like a the? The dental TH? Don't say it. Oh, no. It is French. Mathelet? Oh my god. Okay. Sacha it is. Doesn't feel very French. Okay, cool. That's great. I apologize then. Mathelet. Yes. Mathelet. Mathelet. See, because Canada is bilingual, right? I mean, I learned French for many years, and I've forgotten the majority of it. And also, I sound like a Quebecer, right? So I say "ça va bien," not "ça va bien." So yeah, I don't dare try to. Even if I use French, it'd be embarrassing just for the accent alone. So oh well. Moving on. Okay, we got. I make sound and music for game developers and filmmakers. Okay, allow me to make a more complete introduction. This is quite complete. Okay, a lot of text. To me, sound and music isn't just waves flapping through the air back and forth, because really, that's what it is. It is more than that. It's a way to convey emotions, but more importantly, it is information. Okay, so we haven't learned much about you so far, but we'll keep going. Information about events that contributes to the player or viewer's understanding of the story they're watching or the game. Oh, I see. This is like a hyphen. It's information about events that contributes to no S here, to the player or viewer's understanding of the story they're watching or the game they're playing, whether it be through sound design, dialogue, Foley, UI, ambience design, music, or mixed decisions. Okay, still nothing about you. This information doesn't exist by itself. It's shaped and formed by all the other elements that make the movie or the game or the audiobook, whatever it may be, a coherent product, in quotes, italics. It is influencing and being influenced by elements from other, often sadly so, and I have been guilty of that too, misunderstood departments such as narrative design, level design, writing, concept art, and so on. Okay, still not much about you. Well, keep going. We learned a sadly so about you. That's kind of it. I do not want to make copied, reused, or misinformed information, meaning audio design. I want to make innovative design decisions to solve new problems. Cool, me too. That will inevitably arise in every production while maintaining consistency in asset quality and delivery. Okay? Yeah, I like this. This isn't really a given for everyone. Like, I wanted to solve new problems. That is kind of what game audio is, but not everyone realizes that and says it. And that is only possible with the right kind of people and the right kind of team dynamics and communication, because no project is built on its own. Again, it's not about you. So whether you're a studio recruiter, an indie developer, or a filmmaker looking at my About page, this should probably be a capital A, About, because it's like the page you're on now. If you feel like your project, this also shouldn't be a period, it should be a comma. If you feel like your project could use this kind of information, meaning audio design, just to be sure my metaphor is clear, feel free to contact me by any means you see fit. This is a lot of text, and I learned almost nothing about you, Sacha. Ideally, yes, convoluted, says Word Biotic. Yeah, I think that's probably a little more, what's like wordy than it had to be. I mean, I get what you're saying. I think there's probably a way to, if you insist this is how you want to do it, then okay, you can probably edit it down a little more. I do appreciate you have like the bold versus the non-bold stuff here and there. That's kind of helps your eye a little bit. But this is the About page, and this is a given because we saw the front page. We saw the games and film stuff, so we already know this. So far we're not learning anything new. We also knew your name already because it's at the top. So this, we've learned nothing. And then through this whole thing, I learned that to you, sound is more than waves in the air, which is also kind of what we were saying in terms of like the most past real talks we've had when there's a bio that has like more generic kind of wording and stuff. Things like, I am passionate about sound design. It's like, well, yeah, I assume and hope so, because you're looking to work for me and I want to hire someone who knows their stuff and likes what they're doing, right? So this sentence is just a different way of saying I have a passion for sound and music, which again is I hope so. And then this says nothing. This says almost nothing, apart from your guilt being influenced by other elements, or something. Yeah, I just need to learn more about you, Sacha. You know. Like, who are you? That's what I want to know, and I have not learned a thing, because again, you're looking to make, like I should clarify. I know English isn't your first language, so typos kind of get a pass. It's but it can be helpful to just get an editing, a quick kind of look from someone who is an English speaker, just to see if they see any like. Yeah, like just grammar stuff or that kind of thing, you know. So no worries about that. Right. So I think this is a chance. If someone is clicking on your about page at all, which they might not, you know, no one's going to click your about page until they have a reason to care who you are. And if they care who you are, it's because your Reels page impressed them, right? So if this sound design reel kicks ass, they'll say, "Damn, Sacha. Bien." And then they'll go over to the about page perhaps to learn about you, right? And then they get here, and as a result of clicking here, they read this whole thing and then don't learn anything about you. That's like borderline rude, you know. It's like it's a small discourtesy of their time, because people are very busy when they're looking to hire someone. And this much text with telling like almost nothing about you it's like actively hurting you, you know, because it's just like they're going to be frustrated. Like, what the hell, Sacha? Like, tell me about you, you know? Why didn't she tell me a thing? I'm curious though of your CV, because this has, there's like, it's the bullet point stuff. Sure. So this is where I want to see things like, I play these instruments. I play in these bands. I also do this thing called Savvy, which you might be interested in. Like that kind of thing is way more interesting and helps tell, like if you tell me, if I met you at some game conference and we're having a beer together and I said, "Hey, so like tell me about yourself," you for sure would not tell me this like these paragraphs, you know. You wouldn't say this. You would say, "Oh yeah, like I'm really into sound and music and I play bass guitar and I'm into like learning trombone and I like doing like synth programming. I've been like Max MSP a little bit. I've been learning Unreal. It's been really cool. If you're to Savvy, it's like this like game community doing prototypes. Like that kind of thing is way more interesting to someone who says, "Hey, tell me about yourself," than, you know, learning about information about events. You know, it's just it's not that this is not interesting. It just isn't really appropriate for this page. That's all. Okay, moving on. Someone said this looks like a cover letter kind of, and I kind of agree. It feels more like a cover letter that is a bit more kind of like professional than it is, and like conceptual than it is about you. But you can afford to be more kind of like casual, comma professional in this area. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, Taco Bell has an excellent point. Honestly, I learned more about Sacha from that photo and caption than I did from the entire paragraphs. Yeah, this alone. Like, I can see you have some kind of stringed instrument here, it would seem. Some kind of stringed thing. And you have some kind of hardware over here. And you got a computer with some DAWs and stuff open. Like, it's just... It's... Oh, this picture. So there you go. This one too, though. Like, this picture... and this picture together, we learned more. So yeah, consider making your about more about you. That is the TLDR here. Let's talk about Reels though, shall we? I am eager to have a listen to this one here. Let's go sidechain off, please, off. And we'll go full screen. And let's go 3, 2, 1, and... Oh, I actually have no idea if my applause button's working. Give me a second. Is it? Is it? Yes. Sweet. Some claps, please. Please. I'm a bit late. I apologize. Thank you. Thanks, Sacha. All right. Let's dig in a little bit, shall we? Let's go. So we have this very quietly, very modestly at the bottom. I think we're talking presentation first, yes, if you recall our criteria. We're going presentation first. We'll go from the top. So we'll do a little talk on titling. So Battlefield 2042 trailer sound redesign. Sure. I mean, yes. I more typical is having this up front in some kind of bumper to be like, this whole thing, everything you're seeing right now is Sacha Mathelet, and then we move on from there, right? And then we have this trailer. It's like Battlefield 2042 trailer. Beneath that, sound redesign in a lower third that stays visible the whole time and is not white on white. This is a little bit dangerous and just kind of like we can read it, sure, but it's just not. It doesn't speak to your attention for detail or like. It's kind of like the visual equivalent of game feel, you know, stuff that isn't really actively acknowledged by a viewer, but it's just easier and makes things, you know, just makes things smoother. So having this on black or having a drop shadow or something, typically it's like a black or somewhat opacity pulled back, black, you know, rectangle of some kind, something like that. It's just not really ideal to have it like this. But moving on. And also we have game engine footage beneath it, you know? Like this looks like it's the same value to the viewer as your name and stuff. You know, I saw this, I was like, that's pretty funny. It's like the name and game engine footage beneath that. Moving on though, so we have this whole thing and then nothing else. So the whole thing is like, it is one thing, only one. And who did this? Is it DICE that did this project? Is that who it was? Is it? It is in fact DICE. I was correct. And Criterion as well. Okay, so this tells me you want to work at DICE and nowhere else. Is that true? Because it's only one thing, right? And we can move on to, I mean, this isn't really a real, it is a piece that is certainly, it is helpful in adjudicating your skill and value as a sound designer, naturally. But it's not super real-y, because it's kind of all the same thing. And this doesn't show anything you yourself have worked on apart from this redesign. You have this. In fact, this might be worth looking at really quick, just to give us some context as far as what you're looking at. Let's go. Was it turned on last too? I feel it was turned down last time. I apologize if so. Okay, so classic. I'd far prefer that you are speaking to us. Please to parlay, please. This is dangerous because the moment we have things to look at in the screen that aren't text, our eyes are pulled back to the text, you know? So rather than you walking us through the whole thing and kind of directing our eye with your voice, we are forced to be looking at many things at once, which is just not ideal. But we have this thing you did some integration and stuff in here. Cool. You got some wise stuff happening. You got some... okay. So, I mean, what else though? Audio. You've done things though. You've done like, there's shipped or upcoming titles. So, Sacha, I feel like you're doing yourself a dangerous disservice here because at G4F, what is G4F? Should I know this? G4F Productions. Oh, okay, yes. No, I've been this page before. In the distant past. Okay. Sure. So they okay. So like dev support wise, are you unable to show things that you've worked on in specific like detail? Because I mean, this is, yeah, it's out now. This is out, and this is upcoming, so maybe not. Out now. I mean, the thing is, this being the first thing they see, like, Sacha, I need you to understand that this is potentially the only thing someone will look at, you know? And because of this, you need to be really careful that that the content in this video is in fact, like, in brief, everything that you need someone to know about you without like wanting to dig deeper into more detail, right? So things like, have you shipped any games? This video does not tell us that. And the fact is, you've got this work you've done, right? Like, you've got this work here. And I mean, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of reels that look like this reel or look similar. They have redesigns only, or just is one redesign, like one clip, like this one is kind of. Like, it's not the same. It is. I understand it's different scenes, but it's one project, right? It's one redesign. And typically, when you see a reel that is only redesigns or is only one redesign, that suggests very heavily that this person has not worked in games yet, and they want to work in games soon. But that just isn't true for you, right? It's, I mean, you've worked on things. So this is, you run the risk of someone only seeing this, and for all you know, it's not even someone in audio looking at your reel first. It's someone like in a recruiting department, and they have a clipboard of a checklist that says like needs like implementation experience, needs to have shipped a game in some respect, needs to, et cetera, et cetera. That there's like criteria there. They might watch this reel and be like, nope. Mind you, you do have the CV and stuff, so there is that. It's just dangerous. And I think that you've got work you can be showing, even if you're saying like the spell sounds in some game footage. People understand that. Like, yeah, you did some sound design. There's tons of projects for which people only did some of the sound design. That's totally fine. If you put some clips of spells happening and say like, you did the spell design or something. Doesn't have trailer quality. Oh, that's fine. Doesn't matter at all. You don't need to have like crazy white knuckle cinematic action for your demo reel to be worth watching. Because if it's a minute long, it's only a minute. You know, they don't mind watching it. I've watched some reels that are like ambience design and Foley and like UI, and I totally watched the whole thing. I'm like, that was really good. You know, it's not like it needs to be like right off the hop and ending in explosions and stuff. Like, it doesn't need to be crazy. I appreciate this is an interesting watch because of the nature of the content, but it's not like reels can't be anything else, you know? Totally. It's one reel had a part which is just sounds of some goop turning into different shapes. I don't recall that one. Perhaps I should. I mean, the reel is a trailer for you, but you can certainly have transitions into things you've done. Even some of your prototype work with Savvy, like that is super cool. Without hearing anything you've done, that is awesome that you're involved in that group at all. So learning that, by having content like that in your reel, it invites further questions, you know? So if you have things like some wise thing you did, or some game you shipped, some like in some part you did some additional sound design, or if you include things from your prototype work, or from like game jams or whatever, all of those things are just additional, like, oh, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this. And those things suggest, if you have something from Savvy there, that's like, oh, this person's worked in a team before. That's cool. Because right now your front page reel does not tell me that at all. It tells me that you have worked on your own on this redesign and nothing else. And of course it's not true. But if this reel is all I have to judge by, based on other reels I've seen like yours, that is my assumption. And frankly, it's a safe assumption, because 90% of the time plus, if this is the reel, the person hasn't worked on anything. So it's the different parts of your reel, different things you include, can, apart from the quality of the audio and like the trailerness of the quality, apart from that, you are communicating information about yourself that people can use to assess whether you are a good hire or not. And the more things, and the more like variety of things, but still focused to a certain purpose. If you're looking to work in AAA, having a redesign like this up front is absolutely a good idea, because it says, hey, I know why you're here, and you're here to see if I'm good, and this is the stuff that you want to see, because you are EA Dice. I've just applied to you, and here's some stuff you did, and here's what I would sound like on your team. Like, absolutely have that first. But having other things can just help to further, fill out the tapestry, so to speak, as far as who you are and what you can bring to the team. Okay, so let's talk about content, though, because I do want to talk about that. There's some cool stuff in here that I really appreciated, and some that I would probably... Okay, it wasn't YouTube, so it was fine. It was cranked up. Good. I was worried about the volume slider being too low. It was Vimeo. Let's watch this. Okay, so this is 10 seconds in, and kind of nothing's happened. So be aware of that too, flow-wise. Again, I appreciate it's a trailer, so there's like kind of an establishing shot, and we're ramping into the action and stuff. But this isn't a game trailer. This is a Sacha trailer, you know? So it's really important to understand people have limited time, and if you're not making people want to hear more in the first 10 seconds, first 5 seconds even, then you are potentially, again, taking risks. It might be okay, but for all you know, there's like an audio director or something who is looking at all these reels. They have a stack of 500 reels on their desk to look at, literally, and you are the 480th reel on, day 9 of looking at reels, and they have a lunch meeting to get to, and they've just pressed play, and their mind's already over here to get lunch, you know? It's just dangerous. Like, it doesn't sound bad. It just, it could be, just be aware of that possibility. And it's maybe worthwhile to grab someone by the scruff of the neck, like by their collar, and just tell them, like, this is awesome. Have a look, you know? Okay, so right here, this is the first thing I noticed watching, apart from the intro. So you included voices. That's okay, because they aren't bad. For the most part, they're totally fine. But for everyone else watching, you don't need to include voiceover in your demo reels. No one's going to fault you if there's no voice. It's not a big deal. If you do want to bite the bullet and hire some professional voiceover artists, like performers, then hell yeah, that'll look very, very good. Just be aware that when you're doing voice yourself, it can often sound like you did voice yourself, and then that's what people's attention is drawn to, is like the performance of the voiceover and not the everything else. Taco Bull says the voice is the part they like the least in the reel. Yeah, the voice didn't it was fine in the end. It didn't really add anything. I think it was just amateur enough that I acknowledged it was amateur and then moved on. It wasn't like offensively bad or anything. Just be aware that it's really risky to include voiceover, because it's often just not good. So we'll move on. The one thing I realized, they all sound like the same person. Is one thing. Okay, other thing I realized here, or noticed, is that we have this big crash. This crash is crazy. This would be deafening if it was happening. It's the same person. I mean, there you go, right? Okay, so we have this big impact. Nice impact. Sounds good. Some good stuff there. Past that point, you could dig into the details a lot more than you have. I mean, we have this massive metal tower coming down. We've got a lot of scraping we should be hearing. And like these moments here, I mean, we're blasting through the railing here. You know, there's nothing on that impact. There's a lot of moments here that would encourage you to pull out. Think about what the story actually is specifically in this moment and help tell that story. Like if I close my eyes, can I tell what the nature of this crash was and what kind of materials were hitting and combining and how they are interacting? And so far, I can't really tell that. There's a wire, maybe the cables snap, you know? Once the camera goes away, then it's like open season, right? You can do whatever you want because you're not looking at it anymore. And the thing is, we have this deafening impact. This should be, I mean, look at the size of this landing pad or this kind of outpost or, I don't know, facility, whatever it is. And then, I mean, here we are, we're running. So we have the Foley push. You would not hear that Foley push in this case if this was happening behind you, right? This would be so loud, but we're hearing like the fabric on fabric, you know, the gloves. So keep in mind, we turn around, we're hearing the you know, this plane, the plane coming down, and then we turn and there's nothing. And I appreciate we're moving into kind of this like non-diegetic thing where we have like happening and so forth. I understand that, but there is a transitioning happening. There's a transitioning happening there where we still hear some things. We hear this whoosh of the guy going past us, you know? Or perhaps whooshing of the Foley and stuff. We're hearing the equipment rattling around. So it's hard to believe this is fully... I'm just not sure I'm on board with like, is this actually what we'd be hearing right now? If it's something like, oh, this person's like shocked and maybe there's a low pass or something that their senses are dulled and they're hearing things in an altered way. Sure. But we'd still be hearing something in that case. And we're hearing nothing of this plane crashing. There's like, the thing is, there's still the debris tail of the explosion. Right? It's still happening, but there's no new debris happening. There's no new impacts or new scraping and stuff. So it's hard to get on board that this is actually what it sounds like, you know? And you have so much room, Sacha, for some cool design here. Because the thing is, with big moments like this, it is challenging, definitely, to help, to try to like sculpt out these moments in time where you can hear those things happening. Because it's very easy to put some big ass explosion from sound ideas in there and be like, yep, sounds sweet, and call it a day. But it's not really accurate or unique, or that doesn't, it'll lack personality for this scene in particular. So, but the thing is, with those explosions, with kind of the dangers of, or risks or challenges of overcoming masking, where you have, you know, certain sounds, certain frequencies being drowned out by other sounds that are louder in the same frequency range, is you can just pick other frequencies. So for example, this metal tower coming down, like chink up there, some big metal clang would totally be heard over top of what you have in this mix so far. Clang right there, big chink, some metal squeals for this, you know, the sparks here flying and stuff. You definitely have a lot of room in your mix to put these kind of sounds in. This explosion of the metal railing and stuff right here. Boom, there it goes. It smashes outwards. Pink, some immediate metal snapping and like screaming as it flies past the camera or something. Like you have a lot of room there. There's things flying past at high speed. You can kind of inform a lot more of the story than even the person may be aware of when they're watching it visually. Because like you don't know where their eyes are. There's a lot to look at here. Look at this. There's so much action, right? This is a very involved cinematic. So you have a lot of room, and really your job as the sound designer is to support and drive the narrative forward. So there's a lot of room here. It's a very classic kind of symptom of redesigns of this level or like this kind of content is you've got a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of stuff to cover in a AAA redesign, you know, and it's very common for redesigns to get like 30 to 60% of the way there and then call it a day and be like, this sounds awesome. Because you put so much work in and it sounds so big and full and rich compared to Silence. Of course it does, but it's just not quite there yet. Like you definitely have some more details you can get in on. And what you designed sounds cool. It sounds really good. But you just got more you can be doing in terms of details. The broad strokes are very strong. Just the details can be a lot more, a lot more present. Yeah, and then moving on, we got like... I'd be curious to hear what the original sounds like in this case, because you had this like, it's very sudden, which helps like the moments, because it's like slight comedy, it's like dark comedy, but like, it's like thumbs up, he's like, yeah, we did it, guys, and then bye. So it's sudden, sure, makes sense. And then here, the tail though, through the camera transition, it's like, right, you hear that? But it's like, it's not there anymore. So this should probably have changed because we're hearing this thing go by, but the pacing on that tail isn't, I don't really believe it, given how far it is away immediately, right? Like look how far ahead of us it is, right away. Yeah, it's, and again, close your eyes right now. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, and close eyes. Yeah, it's, I don't know if I believe this thing is like exploding on fire. Like this much fire right here. Like the fire is, look how bright it is. Our hero here is covered in the face. It's so intense with the fire and stuff. And we just don't really hear it. It's like, it's kind of down there, back of the mix. Yeah, it's just really, I would encourage you to exploit your automation a lot, all the time, and just do this once in a while and see what it sounds like. Because I think that if you were to like ramp that as it goes by, you might be pleasantly surprised at how active your mix sounds all of a sudden. It's something I am certainly guilty of, and I was doing like before this stream. I'm working on a fiery like melee attack, and it sounded like crap. And then suddenly I was like, I should automate the EQ, and then now it sounds good. So it's just like make it a little more alive, you know? Just pick and choose your moments and bring those ones to the front over time, and it's gonna sound better. Okay, I don't want to talk about this too much because I feel like a lot of the same principles are kind of throughout here, just as far as details and such go. Maybe a little more accuracy and attention to things like ambience. That was the one thing that stuck out to me the most, I think, here was... Yeah, like here, this ambience here kind of threw me. Because you have this distant kind of city wash or whatever it is beyond the you know, wherever we are, this current setting, and then we turn the corner and the high frequencies come through, more of the buzzing. That makes sense, sounds good. Moving on. It sounds like most of the ambience is to the right is one thing. And then we walk in here, it's like suddenly, immediately. But that's not really what would happen if you walked up to this thing. You know, it sounds like a different ambience once we walk in. Like there would be more gradual occlusion in that city wash or the background wash as we approach here, especially on the right. It seems like there is a wall here. That's why they're going through this kind of tunnel of crates and stuff, right? So, yeah, just... I'd be a little more careful of thinking... I mean, I would encourage you, Sacha, to close your eyes and just ask yourself honestly if you can hear what's happening in detail. So I see the chat calling out mice, by the way. Let's have a listen. Cool. Yeah, very nice. Absolutely. And yeah, Echo says that if you're going to add or include this much suspense and Foley, you need to really go into detail with it. Yeah, because it's right now, again, you are supporting and driving the narrative forward, right? That's your role. So this here, I mean, yeah, like these guys running away to the left are silent, you know? There's just a large consideration here is a lot of your design is happening on screen. And the next level, like how you level up, is you start designing what's off screen. And that's where it gets fun, because you can just imagine in your mind's eye what is happening at left and right, what makes sense for the storyline as far as what's happening left and right, and or even like behind the camera, and what that might sound like. And the thing is, over here, we can tell that there is running soldiers. Do we see them previously? Like, not really, you know? They're back there somewhere. Like that guy, maybe? But we can even see the shadow of another one here, right? So there's maybe even more soldiers back there. Who knows? It's really up to you. And right now, we just hear none of them. If we close our eyes, it sounds like it's these guys and there's no one else. So yeah, be aware. And I would encourage you to really dig in to the stuff outside the middle of the screen. Okay. Probably leave it there for now, I think. We'll skip the music. And there's this one thing I want to mention. So the film and music thing. So I think you're about kind of mentioned games and yeah, so game devs and filmmakers. So your front page says games, well, plus music stuff, which is certainly relevant. I don't know if it's up to you. What is the most important to you? If you want to work in film and games both as a freelancer, then, the thing is, your page says to me, I want to work in AAA, and you're not going to work in AAA sound design and music at the same time. It's good to have a music background when working in sound design, of course, but it's unlikely that you will be filling both those roles just because of the nature of AAA development. There's a lot of like delegation of roles. You know, each person stays in their lane and like does their specific strength. So having this up front says, oh, but also I do like music freelance for film and stuff. And that's fine, of course. Do your thing. Do whatever you're interested in. But be aware that when you're applying for a gig, I would encourage you to have your page as focused as possible to the viewer who is coming to your page and the purpose for their visit. If they're looking to hire you for game audio, then have your page be game audio. We had Zvi Sherman on the show a while back. He's now working at WayForward. He is gainfully employed post Real Talk. There you go, another alumni. And Zvi, this is the film page, right? But we also have slash, and there it is, games. So slash games is like the same page, but it's all games. So this is the page, definitely, that Zvi sent to WayForward as an application. Because the thing is, WayForward, while Zvi's work in post is impressive and relevant to game audio, it is certainly not irrelevant entirely. It is not as relevant as everything else on this page specifically, you know? So that's a consideration there too, Sacha. I would encourage you to think about that. Visit this page. I'm going to give you this site because Zvi's page is fantastic. And he got hired for a reason. I'm not surprised. I think after his date on Real Talk, I was like, yep, he'll be hired very soon. You can make that assumption sometimes. Yeah. So are you standing out? I think right now you've got a lot of work that you're not showing. Like there's a lot of selling points for Sacha Mathelet that you are not putting at the forefront. And I think you could be a little less humble about the work you're putting in. Put it in the reel. Get that tightened up and have it show a more complete picture of who you are. Just like your about page. Perhaps you're too nervous to say how awesome you are, but both your reel and your about are not telling us enough about you. And a lot of other people will be telling employers more about themselves, and as a result, they'll probably be hired before you are. And it's not even due to your skills, just due to what you're communicating. So thanks a lot, Sacha. Okay, moving on. I should say merci, Sacha. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, says Canadian living in Vancouver. Let's go to Kaan Salman. Logan Harden, good to see you. I didn't see in the chat. Tony is well rolled in. Let's see everyone. All these old regulars. Lovely to see you. Okay, Skull Drinker, here we go. Are you jacked up? I'm stoked. I honestly do look forward to seeing everyone's reels every week. This is a highlight of my week whenever Real Talk's happening. We got Instagram. Is it relevant? It looks vaguely relevant. There's a game thing here. And a bunch of photos of some water and some rides. Okay, so this is somewhat relevant. It's not mega relevant. It's not egregious though. We have the occasional Instagram link that is like all selfies and nothing, like not music selfies, just selfies, like against a brick wall or something like that. And it's not really the most relevant thing. So I leave it to you. If you think that it is relevant enough to keep there, then just as you like it, go for it. Just be aware that whenever you have links, you're inviting people to click. And if there isn't something relevant to their interests, they'll be like, oh, why'd I click this? Twitter works for sure. We've got home and projects. Is this a vertical page? It is not. It is going somewhere else. Argon wood. Okay. Front page again. So we have a reel up front. It's a minute long, just short. Excuse me. We've got about me. Well, this is like the opposite of Sacha's just now. I'm a sound designer, composer, I guess like / composer, composer who mostly focuses on video games, period. Put a space here. I enjoy creating immersive soundscapes of video games. Okay, I mean, again, we haven't learned much. And Kaan, watching Sacha's review, you probably already saw this coming. But yeah, I can skip the long form version of this feedback and just go watch Sacha's feedback. Yeah, we just need to learn more about you. Specifically, I've learned nothing about you. I know you're a sound designer. Well, I learned you're a composer, I guess. I didn't know that. So I learned you're a composer as well. And that's kind of it, because everything else I can assume. You wanted to keep it very short. So yes, wanting to keep it very short and concise so as to be courteous of people's time is a noble effort, definitely. But there is a balance to strike. And if you have kept it so short that the about me has failed to tell anyone about you, then there's a problem. There's room to improve for sure. So I would encourage you to include things that you like doing in the audio space, or things you've been learning, or things that you've even people put like one sentence at the end that has a little more about them, like, oh, I enjoy craft beer and crochet, like, let me know. I'd love to hear that. One quick sentence that's not audio can be a great little extra tidbit, because you never know who is looking at your page. If someone's like, crochet? No way, me too. That's very possible. And then suddenly your first interview turns into a quick conversation about what you've been knitting recently, Weird example, but you get the idea. Okay, so skills. I've experience in using Unreal, Unity, game engines, and Fmod and Wise audio middlewares for implementation. I also know just a bit of GameMaker. Okay, cool. Fmod, Wise, Unity, Unreal. Sure. Get in touch. We got this is like a mail icon, I guess. Excuse me. Okay, we got an email and a mail icon. Sure. And what is this behind? What's this image? It's like a classroom or something? I can't tell what this photo is of in the background. Not sure. Let's go to projects. The email isn't a valid link, is it? Mail to, .com. Yeah, your email address is kaansalman812.com. Whew. Be aware of that. Is it at, as it says at Gmail on the actual link, so we can tell it's Gmail, but the link doesn't actually, I can see it in the status bar. It's not go to at gmail.com, it's just at .com. No at actually, it's just .com. Be aware of those details. And the thing is, that's not even a detail that will hurt you, because if I put that into a mail, client, I'll immediately see what the problem is, and I'll type in at gmail.com. But this is just one of those details that can speak to a shortfall in your overall attention to detail, and that also goes along with things like typos and things like missing punctuation or whatever, just not having your like bio being looked over by somebody else for things like grammar stuff or whatever, right? Like anything like that, they can just stack up and just paint a picture that you might not want painted of you, that perhaps you need to be more attentive to detail than you are being right now. Let's have a look at projects before we get into the reel. Okay. So we got Rising Lords Composer. Argon Wood? Wait, what the heck? Is it called Argon Wood or is it called Rising Lords? It's called Rising Lords. I can see the picture in the background. What's Argon Wood then? What is this? Rising Lords is a medieval, turn-based strategy game with card and board game elements. Send your serfs to fight and die in your name, or let them prosper and use them to your advantage. Okay, so what is Argon Wood? I don't know what this is. Help me out, Kaan. Moving on. Oh, it's the name of the studio. Okay, wow, that's surprisingly the case. So I would expect that the name of the project is the big name, and then like who it's by would be beneath that, or even like in like parentheses or something. Because right now, if I look at this page for 1 second like this, I say, "What's the name of the game?" Everyone will say Argon Wood. Just it's not really. It could perhaps be telling us a little more accurately as far as what the game was. Fluffy Gore Composer. So another detail right here is hyphen space. Up here is space hyphen space. Just things like that. It's not it won't kill you. It won't be like, oh, they are unhireable, but they just add up. Kill cute and powerful enemies. Find tons of perks, nearly curses. Okay, sure. So the thing is, these little blurbs, it's not bad to have in there. For example, I'll go to our page, like our studio's page. So we have our projects page too, right? And on this page, we've got a little blurb about every project at the bottom, right? You can see that. Yeah, it's probably pretty small to see, but I'll zoom in a bit. So we have this little blurb, and yes, we have the same thing you have. Create a sprawling industrial city. Like it's like the press kit thing, right? So then this here, the second half though, or the second bit, like this here, power up is handling sound design for Below Zero alongside veteran composer Ben Prunty. Like this kind of thing. And is there a link to the project too? There's a video. So what you did can be helpful, and maybe what you did in detail could be cool too. Like something cool about the project. Like, hey, we worked on Fmod to do some dynamic audio for whatever. Like that can be helpful too. Because any text that someone's reading on your page, they're taking time to read it, and they could be taking that time to learn more about you. And instead, you're teaching them about, about the game only. With our page, we don't expect everyone to read every bit of text. It's more, that text is more there as a, oh damn, they did Tooth and Tail, or they did Battle Chasers Night War. That's crazy. I didn't know that. And they can go look at it if they want to. But most people are not going to read any of this stuff. And some people might read like one of the things, right? Like maybe. So it's nice to have the text there. It's nice to have it there just in case someone cares. That's it. We got Elven Workshop. My bad. It's the developer again. You caught me again, Kaan. It's Survival Journals is the name of the game. Composer and sound designer. Cool. So you worked on some stuff here, it looks like. Fluffy Gore. That looks like a fun game to work on. Kill cute and powerful enemies. Fun. Okay, let's go back home again. Oh, I already have it open. It's over here. Are these things shipped? Yeah, I'm assuming they are. Are they not? That's a good point, actually. Like having maybe like the date it shipped, like the year, and the platform could be good too. Like there's information here that is just it's very brief, and at best brief, and at worst confusing. So it's probably worth having some more information here. I do like the fact that you have this background though. It's nice. The background's against the project. It's nice detail. It's cool. Oh, there's more too. I didn't realize. I didn't go down far enough. Psycho Seal. Kingdom Lost. Again, I did it again, Kaan. I keep seeing this as the name of the game. Like I've learned this and you told me and I'm still doing it wrong. Look at that. Kingdom Lost is the game. Oh man, what a fake out. Is a story-driven RPG with unique combat system and open world. Okay, like great. But I don't know what you're doing on it in detail. I'd like to know more. Let's go watch a reel. Let's do it. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. We'll see how it goes. Let's go. Oh, and no sidechain. Yep. Oh, geez. Okay. This isn't my cursor. This is Kaan's cursor. I just moved the mouse twice to try and move it, and it didn't work. Moving on. Cool. Oh, that's it. Okay. Okay, but wait. So the first thing, Lost Crypt. Okay. Kaan. I am missing some information here. Like a bunch of information. And I feel like you could help us out here. This is this is often how it goes. If there's like one symptom for one part of the website or the reel, like it tends to be an overall symptom across multiple kind of parts here and there. So, and in this case, that symptom is not enough information. So, in projects, we have Rising Lords, we have Fluffy Gore, we have Survival Journals, we have Mughan. Oh, and it's limited. Okay. And we have Kingdom Lost. We have these five projects, and none of them are in your reel, as far as I can tell. Unless this one is one of them. Projects? Is that... Am I just not seeing it? No, it's not there, right? So, what... I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. Lost Crypt. Unity and Fmod implementation. So Lost Crypt, is this a game that shipped? Is this a personal project? Is this a game jam? Is this a... it could be a redesign, I guess, if it wasn't labeled as such, but... So Unity and Fmod implementation. I mean, this is a pretty, I'm not going to lie, this is a pretty rough looking title at the bottom. This is the, if you have your shot of Jaeger ready to go, It's time. Do your shot. We're at joshadambell.com. We have your your Real Talk bingo card out. Dab that joshadambell.com bingo square. So this here, we have, this is like the ideal look for a lower third. We have the name of the thing, the developer, and what you did. If it was a redesign, if it was ambience design, if it was Fmod implementation, if it was in Unity, whatever, right? It's a demo game from Unity. I've not seen this example project. Cool. A new one for me. So then we should say Lost Crypt in parentheses Unity demo project or something like that. And beneath that, sound or Fmod implementation or sound design and Fmod implementation. That'll be a lot easier to look at. This just doesn't look very good, just the white on gray, and it's quite low also in the pane. Also, there is no bookend here. Your name is nowhere in this video. And your name's nowhere. If you go to the actual page of the demo, so your name's on the profile. That's good, and your email's here too. But yeah, just you're missing a chance to again put your name at the forefront and maybe even design that name. I mean, let's do one of these, a Control-Shift-T and press play. Like that's who you're up against, People like that are putting some kind of design at the front and saying, here's who I am, get ready, let's go. It's a much smoother introduction into your work than simply dropping them in the middle of a clip and saying, all right, figure it out and find your bearings. It's not the smoothest approach that you could take for sure. So here we go. And also back to what I was saying to Sacha in the last review, we have how long until the action? Let's go. Okay, so at 7 seconds, we have something happening that is dangerous because 70% of your first 10 seconds have been footsteps, right? And this is not the most interesting thing to start off your reel with, unfortunately. It's cool that you did the Fmod work to put these things in here, but it's not just sonically interesting, Yeah. Logan was looking just this morning by coincidence, and Unity has a few new ones, something to offset the Viking village redesigns. Yeah, exactly. That'd be nice change for sure. So let's move on here. We got, so flow wise, we have what, 2 things, right? Yes, this is a pretty, and it's also at 20 seconds. So at 20 seconds, we have a transition to abiogenesis. Is that what we got? A short film. So this is not even a game, it looks like. So if you're looking to be focused in the game space, which this sure heavily suggests, Unreal, Unity, Fmod, Wise, and Game Maker, if that's your goal, then this reel is not really communicating that effectively at all. It is saying, here's a Unity thing I did, and then it goes on to a redesign as something else entirely. And so this space, this redesign's cool. It has some like really good good sound design working there, but it's just not games. So it's not that. So when you design something like this, or we'll be more abstract. We'll say we design like a clip of Robert Downey Jr. from Iron Man, like some film or something, like some big combat sequence, Iron Man fighting whomever, and maybe it sounds rad. It could sound awesome. Like it could ship with the film, it's that good. But then you have that's like candidate X, and then candidate Y is over here, and they've designed not Iron Man, but they've designed, say, like Destiny 2, right? And they're both applying to Bungie. The redesign with Destiny 2 indicates a higher interest in the game space than the redesign of Iron Man, even if they're both awesome. So the person designing for games is probably gonna get that gig. It's just what you're communicating besides the work itself. and this is not helping you. It's not taking the time to like check more boxes in the same amount of time, even if it sounds good. So we can talk about the, so yeah, that's talking on the subject of material selection down here, right? So we have these two pieces that say nothing of the work you've done on your projects page, and they don't really tell us, like, it doesn't give a full picture at all as far as what you've worked on or the kind of things you want to be working on. Oh, this is, what's up, man? Transient gamers, we were just talking about you. Were your ears burning? You knew it? Good to see you. Okay, so I have no idea what kinds of projects you want to be working on. Yeah, it's we were talking about having the film page versus the games page and how you did that so effectively. So I was showing your 2 pages there. So now, yeah, Kaan, if you could tell us, like, are these all shipped games? The things on your projects page? Because I would love to know more about these things. Scenario trailer. What is this? Will it play? Here we go.
A land butchered by war, afflicted by pestilence, terrorized by wild beasts, and abandoned by God.
Okay, oh, so music. Okay, there we go, composer. Got it. Moving on, we got Fluffy Gore, composer. Whoa. It's not my favorite approach to that glitch, just white noise. I was kind of bracing for it the 3rd time through there. Okay, so again, composer. So that's why it's not in the sound design reel, I guess. Composer. And then here's sound designer, though. So survival journals.
I don't know how long it's been, or how it started. Choices haunt you. Death.
Okay, so still, it's worth showing you shipped things because it's telling people that you've worked with teams, you've worked on getting a project to the finish line. There are things beyond the sound you can express while still having a cool, like, some redesign up front that expresses the kind of work you want to be doing, followed by things you have done that will, again, paint a further, more complete picture of you. So, the problem with those trailers is you weren't involved in making them. So this isn't even your music? Is that what you're saying? Like, you weren't involved in these trailers. So then, okay, but the problem with that is that this is on your page, and you're saying, here are my projects, but if you didn't have any involvement in these videos, then what you should be doing is capturing gameplay. Yeah, OBS, record gameplay. There you go, Alex. So you can record something, or even your own voice talking about the game as you're playing through it, and like what you did or something. There's so many better options than having something that you had no control over. Because yes, this, in most cases, having the trailer of the game is not really helpful unless the trailer is an indication of the work you did. Like, we've got, again, I'll show our page momentarily. So like, we have our media page, and like these pieces, these trailers, Ruined King Announce, like this piece here, like this is our,
This is my kingdom. This is my domain. You can't take it from me.
right? So we didn't do the music, but Joey Goddard and our team did the sound design. That's why it's on our page, right? If it was just a trailer for a game and for some reason the devs had no interest in involving us, then we wouldn't put it on our pages as a showcase of our work. So, okay, so you did the music, but the white noise is just developers putting it in there. Okay, so let's say, for example, you don't like the white noise. Then putting it here is an even worse idea because having it here expresses to me that you thought that white noise was like the best idea. Like personally, I may have done something like I would use the music as source material and like fiddle with some knobs and some plugin and like glitch it out like some like fracture or some plugin like that and like mess it up for a second, come back to the main music again. Make it a little more sonically interesting, a little bit less abrasive. And in that case, I'd be like, check out this cool effect I did. Have a look. It's awesome. But you're telling me you have this clip and you didn't even do it. So then that's just misleading. And maybe it's misleading in a bad direction. Like it's misleading and saying, oh, well, I won't hire Kaan because this white noise thing is not what I would do. But you didn't even do that. So it's very dangerous. I would encourage you, please put stuff on your page that is indicative of what you think is good and the work that you actually did naturally. Let's talk about the content a bit. We have like 2 minutes left. We're talking a lot about like the selection and stuff more than the actual audio itself. Sorry. So this thing. Cool. I like it. This piece here, so I think the one thing I noticed throughout was kind of two things. One being just there could be some more details. You have some great broad strokes here. Everything that's there sounds pretty cool. Yeah, sometimes what I'll do with pieces like this, Kaan, is I will, like if I were designing this, I kind of look at the mechanical features of this thing I'm designing. And I say, okay, cool, there's a big thing here that's doing some it's like a hinge of some kind, some pneumatic, some servo, who knows. And then over here we have a smaller one yet. And I kind of design those as I see them. So I say, what's happening in this particular joint, or like in this kind of piston or whatever. And then I will design that specifically. And then the other ones I'll design separately. So you have like this kind of, and what happens, you have this multi-layered, multifaceted kind of idea of like, oh, this is a multi-part thing and you are designing all the parts of the thing. And you can just make up some rules. Like whenever it stops, I'll go kss on this joint or something. Or I'll go whenever it starts, or whatever, right? You just make a call, and then these rules you kind of just enforce to yourself just end up just helping the thing feel alive because it has all these like rules that dictate what it sounds like based upon how it's moving. So with the other thing I was going to say though is that there was some mixture of, or some room. Well, there's kind of three things actually I wanted to say. The second thing is mixing kind of like non-physical, synth-based, whatever, plug-in, processed instruments, who knows, those kind of sounds, mixing them with a little more of what's actually being heard if you were standing there. Because we have this sound here. Pretty cool. But if we listen, close your eyes. I'll go right here. 3, 2, 1, and... So that sound goes like right, it starts right, goes left. It's a pretty cool sound, but it's super wide. It's stereo 2D-ish, very, very wide. And the thing we're seeing explode right in front of our faces is in fact right in front of our faces. It is center stage, right? And so there's probably some room there for even like a generic style explosion, just something to kind of bring it back into the world. Because that kind of sound, being nice and wide, can make an existing kind of world-based sound more interesting, more rich, more room-filling. But it can also it risks pulling the viewer out of the shot and like breaking immersion when they're hearing something that's not coming from where they're looking and doesn't sound like what they'd expect it to sound like if they were standing there. So we have this big explosion. This thing shooting down, something like that, going down to show that movement along with that kind of cool synth texture would really help bring this whole piece together. And then furthermore, the last thing I want to mention before we call it is paying attention to frequency range and focus as it pertains to the weight and size of something. And in this case, this looks like it's pretty massive, right? This tree is huge. It's like flying into the atmosphere here. So we have this happening. And then that growth moment here. There's a bunch of rumbling happening. I guess still like the ground is rumbling. It's a little bit dangerous to have that filling out the lower frequencies because it's just sort of like muddy. It's not really contoured or interesting or even relevant to the viewer. It's so far away. There's more things right in front of you that could for sure be argued to be filling those bass frequencies without needing to like call on something in the distance. It's right in front of you. This is so big, right? We have some like deep kind of like clunking wooden stuff, or even just like kind of like some leather twisting stuff, anything that's deeper and lower, even just some rumbles, like just down there, where you have that alongside these kind of cool wooden, twiggy, branchy kind of textures could help fill it in, right? Yeah, it needs some roots. Exactly, Alex. There you go. So like what you have there is cool. It just doesn't feel entirely appropriate or accurate to what we're seeing because there's no bass. And really, this thing's so big, there probably would be some more bass just from the sheer size and scale of this thing, right? And again, there, panning-wise, this mechanical click at the very top, it's like, it's a right side, left side. It's not really in the middle. So be really aware of where your panning is and just help. Again, we're telling the story, right? So it's really important that when we're splitting, when we're moving away, we're taking something that we're hearing and we're disconnecting it from the thing we're seeing, we need to be really careful that we're doing that for a reason. And if it's for things like I was saying, like widening up a spell or something, some big spell happens here, and we're like nice and wide, then sure, that width, that content on left and right is there for a reason. It's there to fill the thing up and make it sound bigger and larger than life. If it was only left and right, then it would be arguably wrong because the thing is over here. It's right in front of us. So be really, really careful whenever you pan anything, or just of the panning of things, and that they're matching what we're seeing. Otherwise, we pull the viewer out of the shot, we break immersion, and we have failed to do our jobs adequately. There you go. That's it. Oh, yeah, and the ending also kind of threw me for a loop there, Kaan. That very first watch, there's 5 seconds or so, or like 3 seconds or so of like nothing happening. Not ideal. So, okay, finally. So is Kaan Salman standing out in some positive way? I would say not quite yet. The page is pretty generic. We have some detail work to consider, like the typos here and there. In terms of material selection, I just have no idea what you want to be working on, Kaan. And when it comes to you working on some project or applying for some project or studio, they are like, you're telling them to trust that you are the best fit. And right now you're not giving them enough information to know if you're the best fit. So it's just risky, and it's too risky. And in the end, if you are risky and someone else has communicated themselves very effectively and efficiently, and they have shown that they are the right fit, you could be the same person. But if one person's telling them, they're going to hire that person and not the person that's risk, because they'll be like, well, hopefully it'll work out, when they have someone else that for sure it'll work out, you know? So just, yeah, I appreciate your consideration for people's time and keeping things brief and stuff, but there's more room there. We really need some more information from you, both in your reel and in your about and your project information, basically across the board. I'd like to know more about Kaan Salman before I feel I would want to take a leap of faith and hire you on board. It's just too risky right now. So thanks so much, Kaan. Appreciate it. Okay, and back to, you know it, Martist, Let's go. So good. All right, so of course, if anyone out there in the chat wants to, or I guess on YouTube, watching this thing later on, wants to submit your own work for review on Real Talk, feel free to do so down below, either at RegMeK, that's me personally, or at Power Up Audio, that's the studio, and we'll see you either way. And if you're not on Twitter, you can hit us up at powerupaudio.com on our inquiry form, and we can do it that way too. That's totally fine. And we'd be happy to slot you in. Right now we're slotting in for next year. So the next slot's like January, whatever the Thursday is, whatever the first Thursday of the year. Something like, let's see here. We got the 6th is the first Thursday. That's the next slot, I believe. So plenty of time to get your stuff up to snuff before you're on the show. All right. And thank you again, everyone in the chat hanging out. This is, 2 weeks in a row of Real Talk. Unusual. So unusual. So thank you everyone for hanging out and being back here again. 2 weeks in a row. Helping on the chat. Lots of positive feedback and stuff. Really appreciate that. I actually got a Twitter DM from, well, I won't say who it's from quite yet. I'll just say I got one. A Twitter DM today saying that, well, it was somebody, I'm pretty sure that some of their feedback was make your reel nice and short. And then they got a gig recently, and the person who gave them the gig said they appreciated how the reel was nice and short. So there you go. The system works sometimes. Sometimes we work out. All right. Thanks, everyone, and I will see you in 2 weeks. All right. Thanks a lot.